Ilara Voss stepped off the shuttle onto the wide metal deck of Harmony's Reach station. The air smelled clean and cold, like recycled oxygen mixed with faint machine oil. Around her, aliens of every shape moved in steady lines. Some walked on 4 thick legs. Others floated slightly above the floor on anti-grav pads. A few had too many arms and clicked their mandibles as they talked. Ilara was small next to all of them. Her shoulders were narrow, her legs short compared to the towering Korath soldiers nearby. She carried one simple bag over her shoulder and wore the standard gray cadet uniform that hung loose on her human frame. The docking bay buzzed with noise. Voices in many languages echoed off the high ceiling. Ilara kept her head up and walked straight toward the cadet intake line. A tall Vexari with shiny black shell and 6 arms blocked her path for a moment. He looked down, bent one flexible limb, and tapped her shoulder hard enough to make her step back. "Soft-skinned newcomer," he said, in rough galactic standard. His voice clicked like stones hitting each other. "You lost, little human." Ilara met his eyes without blinking. "No," she said, "I belong here." The Vexari laughed a sharp hissing sound. Then he moved aside, but not before his friends nearby made low rumbling noises that sounded like amusement. Ilara ignored them. She joined the line and waited her turn. At the intake desk, a Lyran officer sat behind a clear screen. The Lyran had pale blue skin and large dark eyes that seemed to see straight into thoughts. The officer scanned Ilara's ident chip, then looked up. "Ilara Voss from Earth," he said. "You are the first human cadet in this cycle. Many species question if your kind can handle coalition training." "I can handle it," Ilara answered. The Lyran tilted his head. "We shall see. Your scores from the entry tests are low in strength and speed. You will start in remedial cadre." Ilara nodded once. "That is fine." The officer handed her a datapad with her room assignment and schedule. Ilara took it and walked away. She felt eyes on her back from every direction. Whispers followed her like shadows. "Look at the tiny Deathworlder. They sent their weakest one. She will break in the first week." Ilara kept walking. She found her bunk room on level 7. It was small, with 8 beds, 4 on each side. 3 other cadets were already there. A Korath female named Tira sat on the bottom bunk, polishing her thick armored plates. A slim insect-like being from the Zeth race stood near the window, cleaning its wings with careful strokes. The third was another human, a tall man named Marcus, from one of the outer colonies. He gave Ilara a quick nod. "New arrival," he said. "Welcome to the fun." Ilara set her bag down. "This is my spot," she said, pointing to an empty top bunk. Marcus chuckled. "They gave you the high one. Figures. You're small enough to climb without a ladder." Ilara climbed up without a word. Things: a spare uniform, some personal items from Earth, and a small metal box that held her grandfather's old combat knife. She placed the box under her pillow, then lay back staring at the ceiling. That night, the cadets gathered in the common mess hall for evening meal. Long tables stretched across the room. Aliens sat in groups by species. Ilara took a tray and found an empty spot near the edge. She ate slowly, tasting the bland protein paste and nutrient broth. It was nothing like food from home, but she ate every bite. A group of Vexari cadets walked past. One of them, Kael'tor, the same one from the docking bay, stopped. He leaned over her table. "Human," he said, loud enough for others to hear. "How does it feel to be the smallest thing in the room?" Ilara looked up. "I feel normal." Kael'tor clicked his mandibles again. "Normal for a soft skin, maybe. On my world, we crush things like you underfoot for sport." Ilara set her spoon down. "You can try." "Quiet." Kael'tor stared. Then he laughed and walked away. His friends followed, still making hissing sounds. Marcus slid onto the bench across from Ilara. "That was bold," he whispered. "You sure you want to poke that nest?" Ilara picked up her spoon again. I did not poke, I answered. Marcus shook his head. You got guts, kid. Just watch your back. The next morning, training began at dawn. The cadets assembled in the main drill hall. Sergeant Vrock, a massive Korath with scars across his face and one missing eye, stood on a raised platform. His voice boomed. Listen well, soft ones, he said. You are here to become coalition warriors, not pets, not scholars, warriors. The galaxy is full of threats, pirate fleets, rogue machines, hostile worlds. Only the strong survive. He pointed one thick claw at the group. His gaze stopped on Alara. You human, step forward. Alara walked to the front. She stood straight, even though Vrock towered over her like a wall. Vrock looked down. You are small. Your planet is called a Deathworld, yet you look fragile. Explain. Alara spoke clear and calm. Earth is hard. Gravity is heavy. Air changes fast. Storms tear trees from the ground. Animals hunt in packs. Diseases kill without warning. We survive because we learn. We adapt. Vrock snorted. Adaptation is good. Strength is better. You will prove yours, or leave. He turned to the whole group. Today, zero-gravity obstacle course. Standard galactic difficulty. Those who finish under time move to advanced cadre. Those who fail stay in remedial. The cadets moved to the prep area. They climbed into exosuits that helped with movement in zero-G. Ilara's suit felt too big. The arms hung long. The legs bunched at the ankles. She adjusted the straps as best she could. The course waited in a sealed chamber. The gravity shut off. Cadets floated into position. A long tunnel stretched ahead, filled with spinning bars, moving platforms, laser grids, and drone targets. The goal was to reach the far end. The core panel. Go, Vrock ordered. The cadets launched forward. Vexari used all 6 arms to pull and push. Korath used powerful legs to kick off walls. Lyrans linked minds to share paths and warnings. Alara moved slower. She pushed gently from one grip point to the next. Her suit made every motion clumsy. Behind her, cadets already mocked. Look at the soft skin. She floats like a leaf. She will never reach the end. Alara ignored the voices. She focused on each handhold, each push. She watched how the others moved, then copied what worked for her smaller body. When a spinning bar came close, she tucked her legs and spun herself clear. When a laser swept past, she waited, timed her push, and slipped through the gap. Halfway through the course, a drone target locked on her. It fired low-powered training rounds. Alara twisted, grabbed a moving rail, and swung hard. The drone missed. She kicked off the wall and tackled it mid-air. She ripped the power cell free with one quick yank. The drone went dark. She floated on, touching the core panel last of her group. The timer stopped. Vrock watched from the observation window. His one good eye narrowed. Cadets gathered at the exit. Most had finished faster. Some laughed as Alara drifted out, slow and steady. Kael'tor floated close. Nice try, soft skin. You took twice the time of a real cadet. Alara removed her helmet. Sweat stuck her dark hair to her forehead. I finished, she said. That is what matters. Kael'tor hissed. We will see how long you last. Sergeant Vrock stepped forward. Enough, he growled. All of you to debrief. The human stays. The others left. Alara stood alone. Vrock walked over. You moved poorly. Your suit does not fit. Your time was slow. Yet you did not quit. Why? Alara looked up. Because quitting is not an option. Vrock studied her for a long moment. Then he nodded once. Go rest. Tomorrow gets harder. Alara walked back to her bunk room. The lights were low. Most cadets slept. She climbed to her bunk and lay down. The station hummed around her. Stars moved past the small window. She closed her eyes and thought of Earth, of cold rain on her face, of running through forests full of thorns, of nights when the wind howled like something alive. She smiled, just a little. They thought she was weak. They would learn. They thought she was weak. Her first combat test redefined Deathworlder. Training grew harder each day. Ilara woke before the station lights brightened. She stretched on the floor beside her bunk, doing push-ups, sit-ups, and slow squats until her muscles burned. The other cadets still slept. She finished, dressed quickly, and slipped out to the empty drill hall. There she ran laps around the wide circle. She jumped over low barriers, crawled under ropes. She climbed walls using only her fingers and toes. Her breath came fast but steady. She thought of home, where hills rose steep and cold winds cut through clothes. She pushed harder. When the morning bell rang, the cadets gathered. Sergeant Vrak stood at the front, his scarred face set in a deep frown. "Today we test raw power," he said. "Korath weights, Vexari dexterity, Lyran focus drills. Each species has its edge. You will face all three. Fail and you drop back. Fail twice and you leave." The cadets moved to stations. Came the lifting bay. Huge metal plates stacked high. Korath cadets lifted them easily with grunts of pride. Ilara stepped up. The bar started at half the weight a Korath used. She gripped it tight, lifted once, twice, then her arms shook. The bar dropped with a loud clang. Laughter rolled through the room. Kael'tor stepped close. "Too weak, soft skin, even our young lift more." Ilara wiped sweat from her brow. "I will get stronger." Next came dexterity drills. Vexari spun bars, twisted ropes, and caught falling objects with all 6 arms. Ilara tried with 2 hands. She dropped half the items. Her fingers moved slow compared to theirs. Again Kael'tor spoke. "Look at her. She fumbles like a child." Ilara picked up the fallen pieces and tried once more. She finished the drill last, but she finished. The Lyran focus test came after. They sat in a quiet circle. One Lyran sent thoughts to another. Ilara felt nothing at first. Then a soft pressure pushed into her mind. Weakness. She clenched her teeth and pushed back. She imagined walls of stone, cold and thick. The pressure faded. The Lyran tester blinked in surprise. "Your mind resists well for a soft skin." Ilara said nothing. She stood and walked to the next station. Days turned to weeks. Ilara stayed at the bottom of every scoreboard. Her name appeared in red letters again and again. Cadets whispered more each day. They sent the weakest human. She embarrasses her whole world. She should quit now. Sergeant Vrak called her to his office one evening. The room smelled of oil and old leather. He sat behind a heavy desk, his one eye fixed on her. "Voss," he said, "your scores are low. You struggle with every task designed for us. Why stay?" Ilara stood straight. "On my world we do not quit when things get hard. We adapt." Vrak leaned forward. "Adaptation takes time. You may not have time." "I will make time," Ilara answered. Vrak studied her. Then he waved a claw. "Dismissed. But know this. If you fail the next big test, you go home." Ilara left the office. Night lights glowed dim in the corridors. She walked to the small observation deck. Stars burned bright outside the thick glass. She pressed her hand to the cool surface and thought of Earth, of vast oceans, of high mountains, of deserts that killed the careless. She closed her eyes and breathed deep. The next morning, a new rumor spread. Kael'tor and his friends had started a betting pool, credits on how many days until Ilara quit, how many injuries before she broke. Some bet on 1 week, others gave her 3. During team drills, they made it worse. In a mock boarding action, Kael'tor shoved Ilara into a corner, so she took the first stun blast from the drones. Tira, the Korath female, laughed as Ilara hit the deck hard. "Get up, soft skin," Tira called, "or stay down forever." Ilara rose slowly. Her side ached, but she joined the line again. Later that day, in a live simulation, the squad faced holographic predators, Sharp teeth, fast legs, claws that glowed red. The beasts charged. The front line fought well. Kael'tor slashed with his blades. Tira smashed with heavy fists. Alara stayed back, watching patterns. She saw how the holograms moved in packs, how they flanked, how they waited for openings. When one beast broke through and lunged at a Lyran cadet, Alara stepped in. She grabbed a fallen training staff and swung hard. The staff cracked against the beast's head. The hologram flickered and vanished. The Lyran looked at her with wide eyes. "Thank you." Alara nodded and moved on. But the others still mocked Kael'tor especially. He waited until after the sim ended. Then he blocked her path in the corridor. "Lucky shot, soft skin," he hissed. "Next time you will not be so lucky." Alara met his gaze. "I do not need luck." Kael'tor clicked his mandibles loud. Then he walked away. That night, Alara stayed late in the archive room. She pulled up files on alien biology, Vexari joints, Korath armor weak points, Lyran mind links limits. She read until her eyes stung. She took notes on a small pad, hidden in her bunk. Later she reviewed them by the faint glow of her datapad. She trained alone in the dark hours. She ran until her legs shook. She lifted weights too heavy for her. She practiced throws with dummy blades. She studied the station layout, every vent, every crawl space, every hidden path. One evening Marcus found her in the empty gym. He leaned against the doorframe watching her do pull-ups. "You never stop," he said. Alara dropped to the floor breathing hard. Stopping means losing. Marcus crossed his arms. "The others hate that. They want you gone." "Let them want," Alara answered. Marcus shook his head. "You are stubborn, kid. Be careful. Kael'tor plays dirty." Alara wiped her face with her sleeve. "I know." The days blurred. Training grew brutal. In endurance runs, Alara lagged behind, but she never stopped. In combat pairs she faced bigger opponents. She lost every match, but she learned. She watched how they moved, how they breathed, how they tired. She filed it all away. Then the announcement came. Sergeant Vrak stood before the full cadet group. "The annual first combat trial begins in 5 days," he said. "Live fire, unscripted, full risk, drones, turrets, traps, real pain, but medical bays ready. The goal is simple. Reach the core, secure it before self-destruct. The losing squad faces expulsion review." Murmurs rose through the room. Vrak continued. "Squads form now. Positions assigned by current scores. Front line gets the strong, rear gets the weak." He read the list. When he reached Alara Voss, her name came last. Rear guard, expendable position. Kael'tor laughed loud across the room. "Perfect place for the soft skin. She can watch us win from behind." Alara stood still. Her face showed nothing. Vrak looked at her once. Then he dismissed the group. Alara walked back to her bunk alone. The station felt bigger, colder. She climbed up and lay down. Stars moved slow outside. She thought of the trial, of drones that did not miss, of turrets that fired real rounds, of traps that could crush or burn. She thought of the others who saw her as nothing. She smiled in the dark. They placed her in the back because they thought she would fail. They thought wrong. She closed her eyes and slept deep, ready for what came next. They thought she was weak. Her first combat test, Redefined Deathworlder. The drop pod shook hard as it fell toward the derelict orbital platform. Sergeant Vrak watched from the command deck, his one good eye fixed on the screens. The cadets inside felt every jolt. Alara sat strapped in the rear seat, her hands tight on the harness. The pod hit the platform with a loud clang. Then the doors blew open. "Go, go, go!" Kael'tor shouted, first out the door. His 6 arms already moved fast, pulling him forward. The rest followed. Tira charged on all 4 legs. Marcus ran close behind. The Lyrans floated, using small thrusters. Alara came last. Her boots hit the grated floor with a soft thud. The platform stretched wide. Dark corridors branched left and right. Rusty bulkheads leaked faint light from emergency strips. The objective glowed red on every HUD. Reach the central core before the self-destruct timer hit 0. 30 minutes total. No second chances. The squad moved quick. Point slashing at the first drone that buzzed out of a vent. His blades cut clean through metal. Sparks flew. The drone dropped smoking. Tira smashed another with one heavy fist. The group cheered. "Keep moving," Vrock ordered over comms. "Do not slow." They pushed deeper, past broken crates and hanging cables. The air smelled of burnt wiring and old fuel. Elara stayed back, scanning corners, watching shadows. She noted every vent, every side passage, every weak spot in the walls. A turret popped up from the floor. Heavy rounds chewed the deck where Kael'tor stood. He dove left, yelling for cover. The squad scattered. Marcus fired back with his training rifle. The turret spun, tracking him. Elara slipped to the side. She found a narrow maintenance hatch, half open. She squeezed through. The space was tight, even for her. She crawled fast, ignoring the sharp edges that scraped her arms. She emerged behind the turret line. The machine still fired at the front. The squad ducked and returned shots. Elara pulled a loose power cable from the wall. She wrapped it around the turret base, then yanked hard. Sparks jumped. The turret jerked once, then powered down, smoke rising from its vents. Kael'tor looked back, confused. "Who did that?" No one answered. They moved on. The next chamber opened wide. A swarm of small drones waited. They flew in tight patterns, firing stinging bolts. The cadets charged in. Kael'tor spun, cutting two from the air. Tira roared and swatted more. Marcus took a hit to the shoulder. He grunted but kept firing. The swarm focused. One drone locked on a Lyran cadet. The Lyran froze, mind link overloaded with panic. Elara saw it. She ran forward, grabbed the Lyran by the arm, and pulled him behind a crate. She raised her rifle, aimed careful, and fired. The drone exploded in mid-turn. The Lyran blinked. "Thank you again." Elara nodded. "Stay low." The fight grew harder. Drones came in waves. Some exploded on impact, sending shrapnel. The squad lost ground. Thad hit to one arm. He hissed in pain but kept slashing. Then the platform AI woke up. Bulkheads slammed shut, trapping half the group in different sections. Alarms blared. Red lights flashed. The timer dropped faster. 20 minutes left. Vrock's voice cut through comms. "Squad status. Report." Tira answered. "We are split. Drones everywhere. Kael'tor wounded." "Where's the human?" Vrock asked. "Rear as always," Kael'tor snarled over the link. "She hides while we bleed." Elara ignored the words. She moved alone now through a side vent. The passage smelled thick with gas. Her eyes watered, but she pushed on. Human lungs handled toxins longer than most. She crawled until she reached a sealed door. She used her multi-tool to pry the panel open. Wires sparked. She hot-wired the lock. The door hissed open. She stepped into a control room. Small screens showed the squad struggling. Kael'tor pinned under drone fire. Tira dragged an injured Zeth cadet. Marcus covered them both. Room. She found a maintenance drone docked in the corner. She climbed in, overrode the controls with quick taps. The drone lifted. She guided it low through the corridors. She reached the pinned group from behind. The drones focused forward. She fired the drone's small cannon into their rear. 3 exploded. The rest scattered. Kael'tor rolled free. He looked up, saw the drone, then saw Elara inside. He stared, mouth open. "How?" Kael'tor asked. Later, Elara said, "Move." The squad regrouped. They pushed forward again. Elara stayed close now. She pointed out traps before they triggered. A pressure plate here, a laser grid there. She remembered every map she studied at night. They reached a long hallway. Turrets lined both walls. Heavy autocannons spun up. The squad stopped. Kael'tor tried to charge, but rounds chewed the deck in front of him. "We cannot cross," Tyra growled. Alara looked up. She saw a narrow catwalk high above, suspended by old cables, too high for Korath, too wide for Bora. Vaxari, but just right for her. "Cover me," she said. Before anyone argued, she ran. She jumped, grabbed a hanging cable, and pulled herself up. Hand over hand she climbed. The turrets below tracked, but could not elevate high enough. Rounds sparked harmless below her. She reached the catwalk, ran across, dropped down behind the turret line. One by one she disabled them. Power cells ripped out, wiring torn free, the guns went silent. The squad rushed through. No losses this time. Marcus clapped her shoulder. "Nice work, kid," he said. Ilara wiped grease from her hands. "Keep moving," she said. The timer showed 12 minutes. The core chamber waited ahead. Massive doors sealed tight. Automated defenses hummed behind them. The final push. Vrak watched every move from command. His claw tapped the console, slow. "The human," he muttered. "She does not fight like the others." The squad formed up. Kael'tor looked at Alara. No mockery left in his eyes. "You lead this one," he said, quiet. Shook her head. "We all go together." She stepped to the front. The doors began to open. They thought she was weak. Her first combat test, Redefined, Deathworlder. The massive doors to the core chamber slid open with a deep groan. Red emergency lights pulsed inside. The air grew thick with the smell of hot metal and ozone. A single Guardian drone waited in the center. It stood taller than 2 Koraths stacked. It had thick armor plates, 6 legs tipped with blades, and a main cannon that glowed bright blue. The platform AI had saved its best weapon for last. 10 minutes remained on the self-destruct timer. The squad fanned out. Kael'tor raised his blades. Tira lowered her head, ready to charge. Marcus checked his rifle. The Lyrans tried to link minds, but the Guardian drone sent out a jamming pulse. Their thoughts scattered like broken glass. "We hit it together," Kael'tor said, "all at once." They moved. The Guardian drone reacted fast. It fired a wide energy sweep. Kael'tor dove. Tira rolled. Marcus took a glancing hit that scorched his armor. Running. Ilara hung back. She watched the drone track every move. She saw how its joints flexed, how its cannon cooled between shots, how its legs shifted weight. She remembered every file she read late at night. She knew this model had weak servo points at the knees and elbows, armor thin near the power core vent. The squad attacked. Kael'tor slashed at a leg. The blade sparked, but barely scratched. Tira rammed its side. The drone staggered, then swung a blade arm. Tira caught the hit full on her shoulder plate. It cracked. She roared in pain and fell back. Marcus fired at the cannon. The shots bounced off. The drone turned its main weapon toward him. A blue beam lanced out. Marcus threw himself aside. The beam carved a deep scar in the deck. "We cannot break through," Kael'tor yelled. The Guardian advanced. Slow, steady, unstoppable. The timer ticked down. 8 minutes. Ilara stepped forward. "Stay back," she said. Kael'tor looked at her. "Yes, me," Ilara answered. Walked into the open space. No charge, no shout, just calm steps. The Guardian locked on her. Small target, low threat. It raised its cannon. Ilara did not run. She waited until the barrel glowed bright. Then she dropped flat. The beam passed over her head, close enough to singe her hair. She rolled left, came up running. The drone tracked slow on its heavy legs. She darted right, then left, zigzagging. Close, the squad watched stunned. "What is she doing?" Tira asked. "Learning," Ilara said loud enough for comms. She reached the first leg. She slid under the drone body. The Guardian tried to stomp. She rolled clear, grabbed a loose cable from the floor. She wrapped it around one knee joint, then pulled tight. The servo whined. The leg buckled slightly. The drone spun. Its blade arms swept low. Elara ducked. The blade missed by inches. She scrambled to the other side, found another cable, tied it fast, pulled again. The second leg locked. Now the drone moved slow. Elara used that. She circled, kept low, stayed in its blind spots. Kael'tor stared. She is crippling it. Marcus nodded. Keep her covered. The squad fired at the drone, distracting it. Elara worked fast. She climbed the back leg, using the rough armor as handholds. She reached the power vent. A small grate covered it. She pried it loose with her multi-tool. Exposed wires sparked red. The Guardian thrashed. One blade arm caught her side. It tore through her suit. Blood welled. Elara hissed but held on. She reached inside, grabbed a main relay, yanked hard. Sparks flew. The cannon dimmed. The drone froze for a second. Then its systems tried to reboot. Elara dropped off, dropped to the deck. She ran to a fallen piece of debris, a heavy metal beam. She dragged it with all her strength, placed it under one raised leg. Push, she yelled. Tira understood. She charged, slammed into the beam. The drone toppled sideways. It crashed hard. Armor plates cracked open. Now Kael'tor moved onto the fallen machine, slashed at the exposed core. Tira smashed with both fists. Marcus fired point blank. The Guardian shuddered. Then its lights died. Smoke poured from every seam. The core chamber went quiet. The self-destruct timer froze at 3 minutes 12 seconds. The squad stood breathing hard. Kael'tor wiped blade arms. Tira held her cracked shoulder. Marcus leaned on his rifle. Elara walked out from behind the wreckage. Blood dripped from her side. Her suit hung in shreds. She wiped her face with a bloody sleeve. Sergeant Vrak's voice came over comms, clear and low. Trial complete. Squad victory. Core secured. No one cheered at first. They looked at Elara. Kael'tor stepped close. His mandibles clicked once soft. You saved us. Elara met his eyes. We saved each other. Tira limped forward. You bled for us, soft skin. Human, Elara corrected. Not soft skin. Tira nodded. Human. Marcus grinned. You crazy kid. That was not in any training. Elara shrugged. I improvised. Med teams rushed in. They patched wounds, stabilized injuries. Elara sat while a medic sealed her side. She watched the others get treated. No one mocked now. No whispers. Vrak entered the chamber in person. His heavy boots echoed. He stopped in front of Elara. Voss, he said, that was not standard procedure. Elara looked up. No, Sergeant, that was Earth procedure. Vrak studied her torn suit, her steady gaze, her blood on the deck. He grunted once. You redefined expendable, he said. He turned to the squad. All of you listen. The human did not lead with strength. She led with observation, patience, ruthless choice. She turned a lost fight into victory. He faced Elara again. You are no longer remedial. You move to advanced cadre, effective now. Elara stood slow. Pain flared, but she ignored it. Thank you, Sergeant. Vrak waved a claw. Do not thank me. Prove it again tomorrow. He walked away. The med teams guided the squad to evac pods. Elara went last. She looked back at the Guardian wreckage. Twisted metal, dark and silent. Outside on the command deck, footage played on every screen. Cadets from other squads watched in silence. The small human woman who crawled through vents, who climbed under drones, who bled and kept moving. Word spread fast across Harmony's reach. Humans were not weak. They adapted. They endured. They redefined what Deathworlder meant. Elara sat in the evac pod. Stars streaked past the window. Her side ached. Her hands shook from adrenaline drop. She closed her eyes, thought of home, of storms that raged for days, of hunts that lasted weeks, of people who fell but rose again. She smiled, small and private. They thought she was weak. They knew better now. The pod docked soft. The trial ended, but the lesson stayed. The evac pod docked with a gentle thud at Harmony's Reach Medical Bay. Lights came up, soft white. Cadets stepped out one by one. Some limped. Others leaned on medics. Alara walked last, her side bandaged tight under fresh uniform fabric. Blood still stained the old cloth in dark patches. She ignored the ache and kept her head high. Med teams swarmed. Kael'tor received synth skin patches on his wounded arms. Tira got a shoulder brace that hummed with repair nanites. Marcus sat while they sealed burns on his chest. The Lyrons rested in quiet pods, minds linked to heal faster. Ilara found a bench in the corner. She sat slow. Pain flared sharp, then dulled. She watched the others. No one spoke to her yet. Eyes glanced her way often. A screen on the wall flickered. Footage from the trial played silent. First the charge, then the swarm, then Alara slipping through vents, crawling under gas, disabling turrets, climbing catwalks, facing the Guardian alone. Cadets from other squads gathered to watch. Whispers started soft, then grew. That is the human, the small one. She took down the Guardian. She bled and kept going. Sergeant Vrak entered the bay. His boots rang on the deck. He carried a datapad. Officers trailed behind him. Coalition brass in crisp uniforms. They stopped near the center. Vrak raised one claw. "Attention," he boomed. The room stilled. Every cadet straightened. Vrak looked around, then fixed his eye on Alara. "Cadet Voss, step forward." Alara stood. She walked to him steady, despite the limp in her step. She stopped in front of him. Vrak held up the datapad. Trial logs complete. Squad survival rate, 100%. Core secured in record time for this platform. Losses 0, thanks to rearguard action. He paused. The rearguard was expendable position. Yet the expendable became essential. Voss, you observed, adapted, acted when others faltered. You redefined the trial. He turned to the gathered cadets. What a Deathworlder does. Earth breeds survivors. Not by size, not by strength alone, by will, by cunning, by refusal to break. The galaxy calls your world deadly because of beasts and storms and poison. Now it will call humans deadly because of you. Murmurs rose. Some cadets nodded. Others stared wide-eyed. Vrak faced Alara again. By Coalition Command Authority, I promote you to Advanced Cadre, effective immediate. Your scores recalibrated, your place secured. He extended one massive claw. Alara took it. They shook firm. Thank you, Sergeant, she said. Do not thank. Prove it daily, Vrak answered. He stepped back. The brass officers nodded one by one. A senior Lyron spoke. Humanity earns respect today. We underestimated. We stand corrected. The room relaxed. Cadets approached Alara one at a time. Tira came first. She placed a heavy hand on Alara's shoulder. Human, you fought like stone, unbreakable. Alara smiled small. Thank you, Tira. Marcus grinned. Punched her good arm lightly. You scared me, kid. Thought you were done when that blade hit. I almost was, Alara said, but almost does not count. Kael'tor approached last. He stood tall, his mandibles still for once. He raised one arm in salute. No mockery, no hiss. You led when I could not, he said. I was wrong. You are no soft skin. You are Deathworlder. Alara returned the salute. We all are, when we must be. Kael'tor clicked once, soft. Respect earned. He stepped aside. The crowd parted. Alara walked through. No one blocked her path. No one laughed. They gave space. Wary respect in every gaze. Later that evening, Alara stood on the main observation deck. Stars wheeled slow outside the vast window. The station orbited peaceful now, trial over, wounds healing. She pressed her palm to the glass. Cool surface met warm skin. She thought of Earth. Blue marble spinning alone, full of life that refused to die. Footsteps approached. Sergeant Vrak joined her. He stood silent for a moment. Long moment. "You changed the word," he said at last. "Ilara turned Deathworlder." "Yes," Vrak answered. "Before it meant danger from the planet. Now it means danger from the people on it. You made that shift. Single-handed." "Not single-handed," Ilara said. "The squad fought. The squad bled." Vrak snorted. "You turned the tide." He looked out at the stars. Coalition channels already buzz. Word spreads fast. Other academies request human cadets. Pirate fleets hear rumors. They think twice before attacking mixed ships. Ilara nodded, quiet. Vrak glanced at her side. "How is the wound?" "Healing," she answered. "Pain reminds me I lived." Vrak grunted. "Good reminder." He turned to leave, then stopped. "One more thing," he said. "Your grandfather's knife. The blade you carried unregistered." Ilara tensed. Vrak continued. "I logged it as personal relic. No issue. But keep it sharp." He walked away, heavy steps fading. Ilara stayed alone. Metal box from her pocket. Opened it. The old combat knife rested inside. Worn handle, sharp edge. She closed the box, put it away. Night cycle began. Lights dimmed. Stars grew brighter. She sat on the deck, back against the glass. Cadets passed. Some nodded, some saluted. No one mocked. She closed her eyes, listened to the station hum, felt the slow spin, thought of trials ahead, of stronger foes, of deeper space. She had not come to prove humans were strong. She came to show why Earth bore that name, why its children carried scars and smiles in equal measure. Underestimation had been the galaxy's mistake. It would not happen again. Not to her. Not to any human. She opened her eyes. Stars burned endless. Deathworlder. The word fit now. She stood slow, walked back to her new bunk in advanced cadre. The door slid open. Room bigger, better view. She climbed in, placed the knife box under the pillow, lay down. Sleep came easy. Earth, of wind through trees, of battles won. Morning would bring new training, new challenges. She welcomed them. The galaxy had learned, one small human at a time.